Can I take you back in time?
Mm-hmm.
The year is 1989. I was just accused of a crime that I didn't commit. 2 weeks after we were accused, after the tsunami of media reports, Donald Trump then puts his money where his mouth is and buys ad space that he publishes in New York City's newspapers, calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty. It was as if he had placed a bounty on our heads. People began to write us. One letter in particular I want to share with you is this letter that talks about time. This is the actual letter. If I take it out of the paper, it might fall apart. So I just want to kind of just show it to you. This letter says, this letter is to Yusef Salaam. This letter is to let you know that your name has been placed on the list of enemies of society by the Citizens Army, New York City branch. You made a decision when you became one of the pack that decided that Central Park was your arena and decided to attack and violate honest citizens who happened to be in the park. So just remember that even 20 to 30 years from now, some people will never forget. And maybe the one time that you don't check your back is the one time that somebody might just be there to say hello. It was letters like these that were predicated off of the fire starting that Donald Trump chose to do. We were born with what they call the complexion for rejection. And really what this was they were looking for young, vibrant people to be a part of the 13th Amendment. This thing that had morphed out of the emancipation of slavery into this new thing called the new Jim Crow. And there I was, being faced with this overwhelming reality. My mom bailed me out. But I was on bail and I was going back and forth to court as if it was a job. And then I remember still having tremendous hope in what I call the criminal justice system. And I was sitting, talking to a friend on the phone, and I got the word. They said, the verdicts are in. And I said, the verdicts are in. I'll see you in a minute. They're gonna set us free. And we went into the courtroom. I heard the word guilty echoed so many times that I lost count. We didn't have the opportunity to plan a going away party. They told us to get up and put our hands behind our back and led us to the back. And there we cried. It was so painful to experience this new slavery. They told us to take our belts off and remove our shoelaces because they thought that we might kill ourselves. I didn't know what to do. I remember thinking about in those times what my mother would tell me. She would say, be still and listen. She would say, God is in control. She would say, man plans and God plans, but God is the best of plans. And I didn't really know what she meant until that moment right there. My mother, because we were boys, she wanted me and my brother and my cousin to learn martial arts. And we were learning from one of the 2 top instructors in New York City. My teacher was a young, vibrant master named Master Littlejohn Davis. And the way that he taught us, like he would take us in the dojo and we would have to break boards, but they didn't have any, there was no scratch or scar in the board. We had to like break a real board. They would take us outside to do push-ups on the asphalt. And I would be looking like the grass is right. I would try to get to the grass. You know, you see the children, right? The children be moving real slow. Right. Adults can't see them. And the instructor just would be looking at me, come on, brother. Get yourself together. See, what I didn't know is that they were preparing me for real life.
Mama.
You're not going to be breaking things or fighting for your life, and it's going to be hell. You're going to have to do what you need to do and muster all the courage that you have in order to do it. When I got to prison, that which I hated saved my life. I remember shadow boxing in the room. I said, man, when they come, they're going to get me, but I'm going to get down. It wasn't going down without a fight. And every once in a while, I would see an inmate walk by my cell, and they would look in. And I heard people whisper. I said, don't mess with that brother. You know those Channel 5 Kung Fu movies that we used to watch? Like we would watch them, you know what I'm saying? Everybody would watch them, and they would go outside, and then it would be, hiya! They would be trying to, do what they saw. They said, that brother don't look like he playing. He knows something. I was so grateful that I had learned something. I had one fight in prison, and I never had a fight again. And the beautiful thing about the style of martial arts that we learned, it wasn't about hurting people, but it was about healing. But to step back a second, I just want to step back a second and talk about the day that I was sentenced. That day, I was asked if I wanted to stand and address the court. And in my mind, I felt like this was the last time I would ever be able to say anything. And folks were saying that you should throw yourself on the mercy of the court to seek the least amount of time possible. But my mother, she told me she was raised in the Jim Crow South. She had taught me about Dr. Martin Luther King. She taught me about Malcolm X. She taught me about Denmark Vesey. She taught me about Toussaint Louverture. She taught me about Harriet. She told me about the fight. And at that moment, when they asked me to stand and address the court if I had anything to say, this is what I said. I was 16 now, and I stood up. I couldn't understand what they were looking at when they were looking at me. They had this viciousness in their eyes that I couldn't quite reconcile. They were looking at the future. They had understood in their planning a thing that we had not. They were looking at the prospects of destroying a future person that they were looking at now and how to do it. And once I realized what was going on, as I stood up, I began to rise. And I became a giant in their eyes. And I started with these words of my brother, Malcolm X. I said, I'm not going to sit here at your table and watch you eat and call myself dinner. Sitting here at your table doesn't make me dinner. Just like being here in America doesn't make me an American. Let us begin. Stress is the anger that is built up inside. Rage is the anger that is no longer built. Taking on a sucker that assuming you have killed. American free will doesn't mean you can kill. And take another person's life, you live your life trife. I'm a skill builder, sowing skills I do build. Creating giving knowledge to this wise black man. Soon to enhance my words across the land. I'm a smooth type of fellow, cool, calm, and mellow. I'm kind of laid back, but now I'm speaking so that you know. I got used and abused, and even was put on the news without clues. Some gave clues, some were not like fools. And check this. Who did what and who did who in? Put in a situation that you don't know what to do in. And some brothers go wild, we're not down with them. Who would have thought I'd have to lock in? I stand accused. Checking the scene from how the situation was. Instead of getting facts, the media made you blurred. Now the people don't know. All they see is the media. They never hear the blame because they're constantly deceiving us. The DA is dead wrong. This is her master plan? This case is not a case, it's just a crafted shame. Yo, instead of trying to get your name made, it's reconstructing the crime that really pays. Islam. La ilaha illallah, being supreme over Satan, but the man is Allah. Yes, I'm a science dropper on the righteous path, so how the hell could I take a rapist path? Think about that and then think about this. All my friends, it was me they dissed, they dismissed. Cause I don't really need any friends like that. Like when I really needed you, where were you at? I'm not dissing them all, but the ones that I called that went and dissed me. Like I was an inch small, like a rat, a mouse, not even a man, wrongly accused. Like the knife's in my hand. How does it look? Me clock, now I'm shook, look like Matlock. Soon the accused gets off the hook. It's real when she remembers and says, damn, the cops did you in, I stand accused. You people stop. This race will disperse. Hey, yo, you seen that kid Benson? He's in a hearse. And so we take it to the Benson hearse fields. Whites had bulletproof vests. We had no kinds of shields. How does it look? They killed the black man being black. It's time we take a stand. In our situation, you saw our faces clear, but not mine. Not because of fear. It's because the black race was disgraced, and for the Muslim, it must have felt shame. But I'm not to blame with the words you bought. The media took our words to paper, the ones the cops distorted. I told the cops truth like this, and then boom, they were smacking my man Corey Wise in the next room. Now I know why the rosters can't stand the Bobby line. They never help, they just babble on. I used to think the people and the cops were cool, but who protects us from you? I stand accused. Man, let me tell you. If you would have seen the face of the judge, I can laugh about it now because God is good. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell you, if you would have seen the face of the judge, he wanted to change the law right then and there to disallow anybody the opportunity to say something. I mean, can you imagine? A reporter asked to take a photo of my rap song. Because back in the 80s, music was in the message. And there was a message in the music.
Right.
And she wanted to take a photo of my rap song. And I felt proud of that. I said, yeah. Next day, that same photo found itself on the front page of the New York Post. The headlines read, Salaam Baloney.
Oh,
That's all right. But see, Spike Lee did me a favor.
yes.
In one of Spike Lee's movies, it's the movie where there's the guy, they're in a pizza shop and they're arguing. The two Italian guys are arguing, and one of the guys picks up the paper, and it's my rap song on the front page of the paper. And he's reading it. And he says, I'm a smooth type of fellow, cool, calm, and mellow. What the F is this? And he throws the paper, and I said, man, that's my 5 minutes of fame. That's what's up. When they gave us our sentence, life was over. I was watching Brian Banks' movie, and in there he was talking about a man he met who told him that he had to, in order for him to move past where he was, he had to give it all up. And I thought about that. I thought about my own experience. And I thought about what happens to those of us who've been in prison. How do we survive? We can't survive when we're thinking about our loved ones, or if we got somebody at home waiting for us and all of that stuff, because that will break you down. having that kind of love and affection in prison when you're supposed to be watching your back, watching your front, watching your side. You're supposed to be sleeping with one eye open. You gotta give everything up. In that moment in prison when that officer walked up to me and asked me that question, who are you? And I answered him with the way I answered him. And he said, no, who are you? And I had always known my name was Yusef Salaam, but I never knew what the meaning was. And so when people would say Joseph, I knew that that was the English equivalent, but I still didn't know what it meant. Now I'm starting to do the knowledge. I'm diving into the books, trying to uncover my history, what it is that my parents gave me. Because I knew I was born on purpose, and I knew that I was born with a purpose. And I found out that Yusef means God will increase. I found out that Idris means the teacher. I found out that Fadil is with justice. And everybody knows that Salaam means peace. Imagine my surprise in prison finding out for the first time that my parents named me God will increase the teacher with justice and peace.
Wow.
I knew there was something that I had to do.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to begin now in order to prepare for whatever God was preparing me for tomorrow.
That's good.
And so I started thinking about myself in my past, present, future.
Yeah.
I started thinking about myself and trying to envision. And I remember when I was sitting down and I was talking to Oprah with the other individuals. And she asked me about what got me through, and I said meditation. And I wish I could have told more about that on that stage. But this meditation that I talk about is the same idea that I give young students as they're entering into their first year of college. I don't want them to think about tomorrow. I don't want them to think about this arduous journey. I don't want them to think about how hard it's going to be. I want them to close their eyes and see themselves and feel the feeling of how awesome it would be to take that tassel and move it from one side of your hat to the next. I want you to couple that feeling with moving past that and feeling what it would feel like for you to get your first dream job. Not your first job, but your first dream job. And as you begin to dream, I want you to think about the awesome feeling it would feel like to be taking your loved one who was in your corner. You driving in a car with them. You can't contain your excitement because you're driving to a home that you bought free and clear and you're giving them the keys. I want you to feel that. And I gotta put myself in a dream too, right? I say, hey man, and you look over to your right. And you say, man, that's that brother Dr. Yusef Salaam in a red Ferrari. I got dreams too now, you know what I'm saying? But imagine starting your college year already knowing that you already succeeded.
Yeah.
Your past, where you came from, can be repaired in your present. So that when you plant the seeds, when they talk about you reap the seeds that you sow, as you begin to walk into your future, the young people, they coin the term, they say YOLO. They say, you want to know what? You're right. You only live once. But married to the thought and the statement of YOLO is to live reckless. It's to not plan for tomorrow. And so what happens is that you could be 50, 60, 70, 80 years later realizing that you're still here. I want you to think about it, if you will. I think it's either today or yesterday that Nipsey Hussle, it's today. Nipsey Hussle's birthday is today. And I bring him up because this awesome spirit that was in the world, that day that we all saw him get murdered, Just imagine, we all came here. We talked to whoever we talked to before we came here. But imagine a Nipsey Hussle. We know from Lauren that she said he would burn sage in the house. He was a different kind of dude. I mean, when we heard that, a lot of brothers was like, man, shoot, I need to find out with some sages. You know what I'm saying? I gotta start burning some sage in my house. That's where the bar was set. And then you begin to realize and uncover how really, truly special this man was. That he was laying out a blueprint for us. That he was planting seeds to produce trees that he would never sit underneath the shade of. We have to begin to think about, how do we break generational curses? How do we shine and produce our excellence in a world that wants us to turn down our lights? We gotta turn it up. We gotta turn it so far up that we're undeniable. Because the reality is that when the system is operating other than, the way that it gets to do what it does is by us. They need us. And it's not that the system itself is wrong. Part of the system was designed the way that it's designed and operated. But that young girl that I spoke life into about being the best cop that she could be is the type of future that we want for all of us. I remember when I was in prison, I would be, in my downtime, sometimes I would be thinking about, damn, just yesterday I was riding my skateboard. I still had the opportunity to draw. As a matter of fact, this ring that I wear is a ring that I drew and I gave to the jeweler. This necklace, this piece that I wear, sometimes you'll see me on social media, I have this piece out. It's a piece that I drew this and I gave it to the jeweler, and they were able to recreate it exactly the way I designed it. But I would think sometimes, and sometimes I would get down. And I remember this one moment, I was walking down the corridor in Clinton, Illinois. Clinton is one of the worst prisons that you can go to prison in New York State. I think the worst, on top of that, is Attica. And I'm walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden this poem just popped into my head. I started realizing that I was a vessel that I was being used in order to share something with the world. And this poem that popped into my head was called Venus and Mars. Now, Venus and Mars is interesting because, they say men are from Mars and women are from Venus or something like that. But in between Venus and Mars is Earth. In between Venus and Mars is the center of our attraction. Of those connected to the stars, hardly a fraction. It behooves man to work for the day when this will all end. Life is mortal, so follow the way of those heaven sent. Awaken and receive that which will give you life, or remain horizontal and never begin to flight. For the solution, I'll descend from amongst the stars, and I'll meet you in between Venus and Mars. I tell you, when I got that poem, I was like, wow. I never revised it. That poem came to me just that same way. I remember going and saying, I need a napkin. I grabbed a napkin and wrote the poem on a napkin in the mess hall. And when I got home after the next few years, I took a Sharpie and wrote it in permanent marker on that same napkin. These were gifts that God was giving me. This was something that I was supposed to share. This was something that I was supposed to speak life into somebody. People were supposed to look at me and say, dang, this brother doesn't look like his experience. They were supposed to say to themselves that if he could go through this, I could get through anything. I went to jail and I got a college degree. But I never say that to impress anybody, but rather to impress upon you that you too can do anything. You can move mountains. if I could do that as a subdued man, all we need to know is we free. We free.
Yeah.
Like that's the beautiful thing about being in bondage. If your mind is locked up,
Come on, brother.
time is doing you. They always say, don't let time do you, you do the time. You figure out how to massage and shape and move and redirect. Those lemons that God gave me in life, He wanted me to have those lemons. Because see, what I found out is that the pen that is written on the history of your life was lifted 50,000 years before the first man was born.
Come on.
The ink is already dry. You are here to do something phenomenal.
Yes. Yes.
And all you gotta do is just say, use me.
Use me. Yes.
Right? And so I'm so honored, I'm so thankful to be in front of you, to be here to share with you. This never gets old. Those of us who know that when you talk about your story, you take back the power.
Yes.
You heal over and over and over. I love talking about Donald Trump. This ain't a Trump suit. It's not gonna fit like this.
All right.
The reason why I love talking about Donald Trump is because for every great story, there has to be a great villain. And he keeps giving us this ammunition. I mean, I'm just like, somebody gonna send me some new stuff, man. I'm gonna be able to, but it's such a beautiful thing to be here. I'm excited about the rest of my life because what I want you to know, my friend Les Brown said, we should all live full and die empty. The worst thing to happen to us would be for us to be on our deathbeds. And instead of our family praying for us, helping us get over and pass on to the next life, imagine the ghosts, imagine all of the desires, all of the dreams, all of the aspirations coming and looking at you, knowing that they're going to die with you. Only you could have gave it life.
Come on, brother. Talk about
We have to live full and die empty. The most important thing of our lives is that dash in between our birthday and our death day.
Yeah.
We have to be able to break generational curses because for those future generations that are coming, we want to make sure that we did the right thing.
That's right.
Those cops, those DAs, those media personalities that were involved in vilifying us and throwing us under the bus never could have imagined 30 years later the truth coming out of this world. Listen, I'm going to tell you what's beautiful about the truth. The truth came out. God is good. Don't know God?
Yeah.
Listen. Do you realize that most buildings in America don't have a 13th floor?
Right.
As a matter of fact, if you got to go to work on Friday the 13th, you call in, it just came upon me. I'm not feeling well. 13 is supposed to be one of the most unlucky numbers. God made it so that 13 years after we were accused, the truth came out.
Come on.
And it didn't come out like in a way where there was like a cloud of suspicion. I mean, this is what the media tries to put out there. This is what Donald Trump tries to keep saying. Well, the police had so much evidence against them. That's why I believe that they're guilty. There was no evidence.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I don't even like to use the word that's commonly used in reference to how they free people. I like to use the big word. I like to say deoxyribonucleic acid free.
All right.
I want people to understand that is our fingerprint. That is our individual DNA. when they found out that we didn't do it, the tsunami of media reports that came out in 1989 were over 400 articles written about us within the first few weeks. In 2002, 2003, I remember my mother, she was at City Hall. God bless her, she's still with us today.
Amen. Great, great.
My mother, she was testifying at City Hall about the Central Park jogger case. And one thing that stood out above everything else that she said, when the truth came out, it was a whisper that she wondered if the rats in New York City had heard. It got little to no attention. As a matter of fact, one of the most interesting things that did come out was that the New York Daily News had this on the front cover. But most people didn't see this if they weren't picking up the paper. This is one of the jurors.
Wow.
He said, we got the wrong kids. I mean, imagine that. When President Barack Obama left office, I remember hearing him say in his parting speech, he said, now I have the awesome opportunity to go back to have the best title in the world. And that is the title of citizen. Because let me tell you, when the citizens get the letter in the mail that says that you have been called to serve on a jury, I don't want you to shirk that responsibility.
Come on now, say it again.
I want you to think about Yusef Salaam. We're blessed with the presence of a Tyra Patterson in the audience as well. I want you to think about her as well. Because let me tell you, one of the jurors in my trial, I remember him saying, he said, I mean, you think about the pressure. You think about, here you are, you're trying to fight, you're trying to say, I don't do this, and therefore, what happens after the pressure is that you have false confessions. I never made a false confession, written or videotaped. But the other 4 of my brothers did. And these confessions were found to be false. Many of them said the pressure was so great, man, I just wanted to, I wanted it to stop. This juror said he was going crazy in the room. That's only a few days. He's able to go home or go to the hotel room, however they had it situated for him. He said, I was going crazy and I couldn't, I knew they weren't guilty, but I was the only one that was holding out. So I found some cockamamie excuse to vote guilty just so that I could get out of there.
Oh, wow.
13 years go by and the truth comes out. You want to be on the right side of history.
Yes.
You want to plant seeds of legacy.
Yeah.
You want to think about yourself and your past, present, future self. You want to have a vision for tomorrow. That even though you're going through something, everybody goes through something. I remember when I was thinking about personalities like Nelson Mandela. Man, how could you do 27 years? Come out, a beautiful spirit. I mean, the president of South Africa. I remember hearing him say that he had to leave bitterness and anger in the prison because if he took it outside, it would destroy him.
Yeah.
I was reading the words of Dr. Maya Angelou, and it sounded like she was conversing with him. And she said, you can be angry, but you must not be bitter. Bitterness is like a cancer.
Yeah.
It eats upon the host. It doesn't do anything to the object of its displeasure. So you use that anger. You dance it. You march it. You vote it. You vote it.
Yes. Yes.
You vote it. She said you do everything about it. But then I felt like she was talking directly to me because she said, "You're talking. Never stop talking." I'm so honored and blessed to be here with you. And before I sit down to be ready for the Q&A session, I want to leave you with this poem. This was my signature poem. My rap was my signature poem. This was my signature. This was really my signature poem when I was in prison. This poem is called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised." The revolution will not be televised. I can remember when that statement made me sad inside. Too young to be in it. Now I couldn't even see it. Why? Why couldn't the revolution be televised? The last poets, Gil Scott-Heron. As I grew up, I began to see. They left theirs, and I too wanted to leave a mark on history. A man in half, and I wanted to bask in that task that set men free. But a revolution, the revolution, is where I knew I had to be. The revolution will not be televised. They didn't want to display the victory of those, quote unquote, lesser men. The revolution will not be televised. Smile. I know, because I am the revolution. Thank you.